Alrighty, people out there. This is Rauta's April 2021 stream. That is the monthly stream, which I promised to do. Now, nobody's online, so I'm basically talking here to myself. I guess we'll wait for people to show up. I'm gonna start grabbing my whiskey and then we'll start talking. Right. So, theme of today, sulking on ice. If you know what I'm referring to, well, it's on my Instagram and Rauta's Facebook page. Obviously, I'm not too serious about it. There is no real topic today. It's just more about talking to you people, and feel free to drop me questions. That's the whole deal, everything right there as usual. And what else? Oh, yeah, it's Easter time. People probably have lots of free time in their hands, so I don't think they're gonna spend too much of their time watching the stream. But in case you're a little bit lonely, or joking aside, in case you just want to drop me some comments or questions, suggestions related to the videos or the channel, just let me know. Hello from Slovakia. Well, hello you there, and hello to Ireland, my friend Alex. Anyway, what's up, people? Do you have some questions in your mind? Hello from Oulu. Revulsio very much present. Yes. In case you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm just pouring myself a little bit of drinks. Man can't have too much drinks, especially after a workout day and a sauna evening, and trying to do a little bit of skinny dipping, but failing to do so well because the lake was all frozen. Oh yeah, talking about Impaled Nazarene. My very Eastern themed Impaled Nazarene t-shirt wants to say hello to you as well. This is funny stuff. This is a tour shirt from Mexico 1998. But curious enough, I bought this long sleeve, I would say probably 1999. Might have been, let me check out the dates. Could it have been? It could have been actually 1998 as well, because, well, as you can see, these dates here on the shirt refer to January 1998 tour in Mexico. And I bought this one at Nummirok Summer Festival, Midsummer Festival in Finland, probably 1998. But like I said, could have been 1999 as well. Some leftover shirts, bought something like for 80 marks, which would be something like 13 euros maybe, roughly, give or take. So sweet deal. I mean, I've never been very, very big Impaled Nazarene fan, but I do like what they're doing, especially what they did back in the 90s, like Suomi, Finland, Perkele, and all that stuff. They're kind of a crazy band in so many ways, so you just have to respect that. I mean, obviously, some people probably hate Impaled Nazarene just for being the kind of crazy people. I mean, they're like blasphemers to whole black metal, went all like middle finger going on when everybody else was just so super serious about church asons or blaspheming the God and Jesus and all that stuff. I mean, obviously Imperial Nazarene did that too, but I mean, they were so much more unconventional, untraditional, and even so much more hateful than so many other bands. I mean, compared to Impaled Nazarene, a lot of Norwegian and Swedish guys felt like school kids. And this is by no means slander. It's just saying like Impaled Nazarene was more picking a fight than so many other bands from any country of the world. Even Finnish standards, Impaled Nazarene is something like a breakfast coming to you. Anyway, reading about your comments right now. Oh, hello, Rob. How did you like Kalman Kanteja interview? I hope it was worth your time. Yes, Siri, very much agreeing about the early stuff from Impaled Nazarene. And hello to Poland, Hell Satanas. Mexico is mentioned. So nice to have some Mexican brother or hermano. And Alex Rose is happy to see Jesus die again. Yeah, hey, who isn't? I mean, obviously, you would have to believe that Jesus was alive at some point, but yeah. And yeah, this is a good celebration day. I mean, that's the best part of Easter. That is, if you want to take this kind of Christian angle to Easter, is that you get to celebrate Jesus being dead and those Christian people mourning about like, woohoo, Jesus died. He wept. He went to heaven. He didn't go anywhere. In fact, he probably even didn't exist in the first place. But you're also sad. And we others, we just get to eat chocolate eggs and lamb. Man, I had some really good lamb today. Any other lamb eaters here? I mean, they're vegan people who don't like to eat meat. Total respect to that. But if you like meat, if you eat meat, skipping lamb on Easter, that should be a punishable crime. Just kidding, obviously, but I mean, have some great lamb, a little bit mint, some pepper. Oh man, it's so good. Jan, thanks for asking. I'm very good. Hope you're good and sound and healthy as well. And my pleasure regarding Kalman Kanteja. I was happy to get it out. I mean, it had to wait something like 5 weeks already due to schedule problems, but there it is. And I will soon mention our next interview, which is already done like a week ago, and I hope to announce it very soon. Some people probably already know. Oh yeah, Nergal is up in court again, which just proves that Poland is like a third world country in so many ways. Hola to Colombia. How are you, Christian? Chocolate Christ. That would be something really, really edible. And yeah, thank Jesus for mammy. Anybody here eating mammy? Anybody knowing what mammy is? Do I need to Wikipedia link for you in case you don't know what mammy is? I have no idea what it's even called in English. Well, it seems like Wikipedia is translating it to mammy as well. So in case you don't know what this Finnish cuisine, Finnish dessert is, it's mammy. It's very, very peculiar. I strongly recommend you checking out that link. Do I hear Negura Bunget band from Romania? Yes, I know the band. I've actually seen them live probably some 15, 20 years ago. So yeah. But Silver Snake, what happened, man? You already mentioned like twice that black metal gone to commercial since the early 1990s. Why should we care about Negura Bunget if we are to go with that style? Brian Mons, right on the money regarding Sielun Vihollinen. Very good band. Oh, which reminds me, I forget to post. Here it is, this Sielun Vihollinen stuff, which I already reviewed in yesterday's video. I promised to, and I need to put this on Instagram later on. Forgot to do it today, and then again had this Kalman Kanteja things been going on, so we're probably putting that out tomorrow. And Torso has been doing some lamb in a stew. Oh yeah, great. Lamb is really, really good. I didn't watch Helsinki Death Fest gigs. First of all, I don't really like. I am not into stream gigs. Now that is actually the same thing. Some people might say, no, I'm not into streamable YouTubers, it's all fine. First of all, I don't get the feeling even on watching live DVDs, even if they're very very professionally made, and even less if it's some streamable gig. Because for me, going to a gig means I'm there with people. I can smell the sweat, I can smell the cheap perfume, and I can smell and taste my own beer. And there has to be this live presence. Watching it on screen, like sipping my red wine here, not gonna do it. And secondly, I was actually in sauna in Finnish, at the time the gig started. So nope, I wasn't checking out the stream. I wasn't even near any kind of computer or iPad or whatever. And yeah, Alex, check out my Manmi link right there. But yeah, Easter food can be really, really good. And Rob, nice to hear that you're digging out Silvialen. Have I heard the new Ungfell song? No, I haven't. I usually skip individual songs. I'm a sucker for albums. I mean, I am not interested basically when there's like a single track out. When bands are like, "Hey, this is our new single, check it out." I'm more about getting into an albums. There are a couple of reasons. First of all, sometimes the singles are the best of the whole album. And when you get to listen to the rest of the album, it's a big disappointment. Sometimes it does quite the opposite. It's not one of the best songs on the album. And in case it's not, and you listen to one of these songs, you just probably don't want to hear no more. You're figuring out, okay, if this is the single song, I'm not going to check out the album. So I try not to listen to singles. It has to be really special band, like something that I really resonate with, something that I'm really in love with. So usually I just skip single songs and focus when the full album is out. That is also partially because I get so much email like every day about download this album, download did that album, blah blah blah, and then I have almost 300 CDs and vinyls here for review. So I'm constantly being bombarded by so many albums. So no, I don't really spend time on single songs. But yeah, like Rex here is explaining, having a conflicted opinion about stream concerts. That the same applies to me as well. I mean, I don't want to feel a band being ruined because of a bad stream, and then feel like I have actually been there. I know for some people it totally does the trick, and that's cool if so. But for me, I don't know. It's just kind of a. Let me put it this way. Now everybody understands if I say watching a stream of a gig is much like, watching pornography, watching porno on your TV or monitor or whatever, versus going to a gig is much like having sex or, well, close to it. So there's that. What else? Yeah, mammy can be quite weird thing. Ungfell album. I might have it. Actually, let me take a look. At least it doesn't show in my downloaded promo folder. I might have it in email. Let me just check it out. What else? Yeah, there's no drunk people spilling beer on you. Well, I understand that's a good point in gig streams. But the thing is, I kind of want that. I want that beers to be spilled. I want that feel and smell the shit and sweat and piss and everything has to be right there. Otherwise it's just too sterile. It doesn't feel right. So, but I mean, I understand if some people just rather, sit on a couch, pop some popcorn or chips or whatever, and have the beers, and you can even pause a stream, take a piss without missing a song. But for me, it doesn't really cut it. But yeah, you also said that the same. It's the best and the worst in the same. I started commenting way too quickly. You're right, impossible. Spot on. What else? What am I waiting for a new album of Cannibal Corpse? Well, yeah, I'm waiting for the physical copy. I actually downloaded the copy for Cannibal Corpse like a month ago, and I think it's a really good album based on one listen only. One. I'm still waiting for my copy, and it should be here in 2 weeks. And as soon as I get my Cannibal Corpse CD here, I will do the review. So yeah. What else? There is also an argument of if the bands should charge for the stream performance, like what Behemoth and Steelfest people did. Now, I think it would be fair for bands to charge for the streams, but it's like you have two ways. If you stream for free and you could sell merchandise, that would be one way to do it. But if you just stream it for free and nobody was, buying the merchandise, it's a shitty deal for the band. Now, it's up to the individual. Everybody knows that volunteer thing to pay. Like, for example, I'm going to use this stream as an example. You're not paying me jack shit, and it's fine. I'm not expecting to be paid for streams like this. So, you don't get to see, like, ads. Especially if you're watching the stream, like right now, not as, afterwards. You don't have to even watch the odd ads. I'm gonna add the ads, later on when the stream is done and all that stuff's being done. But I mean, it's free for all. Now, if you want to support the cause, if you want to donate something, for example, in the case of Rauta, for us to do more interviews in the future, obviously you can just click that super chat somewhere right there underneath the where you can comment. But I mean, it's totally voluntary. I'm not going to send you a love letter, even if you donate some money. We could talk about that when it comes to Patreon side. But I mean, people voluntarily donating money for like bands or streamers. I don't think enough people are doing it. By enough, I mean it's not very sustainable for the bands. I mean, bands can do just those gigs just because, I mean, they probably want to play and to make themselves relevant. But when we're talking about black metal and staying relevant, it gets a little bit complicated. It works more if you're somewhat commercial band and you're not shy about it. But when you're a black metal band and you don't want to even involve the concept of money, now that's when it gets tricky. So bands charging for the streams, at least in that way, would make sense that those who actually want to see it, they would be ready to pay for it. That would mean like these fans are real fans, not just listening to some shit on YouTube just because it's free. So I understand both ways, but I think bands probably should charge at least something. It could be very little, like $1 a euro, $5, €5, whatever. Because after all, you probably have to pay somebody, to do the lights, the sound, the audio, get the venue. You probably have to take care of some of the rent. So it would be a very, very fair deal for people to, pay for what they see. But, it is. We live in a world where everything is free, from news to TV to music, blah, blah, blah. People are so used to the very fact that everything is just free, just out there for the taking. Like, people are like, why would I spend $10 or €10 for a CD? Because I can just listen to it on YouTube. I don't need the lyrics. I don't need the cover image. I don't even want the disc here. So I just, listen for free. Because, hey, man, I get to get my drugs. I get to get my Nike apparel. All that bullshit. I mean, put your money where your mouth is. And you're cool in my books. But really, I get it. A lot of people have a lot of things to be spent. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have your sick grandma. Maybe you need that new PlayStation 5. I get it. It's all about priorities. But if you are a music lover and you're not ready to spend money on your love, which is called music, I mean, it tells you a lot about you as person. It's like, hey, I love this gal, I love this guy, but I'm not gonna, you know, buy my girlfriend or boyfriend anything because hey, life is free. Everything good is free. So fuck it. I'm gonna say fuck it. Okay, reading your comments before getting too much deep into my rants. Um, what else? Reading comments on the backlog. Steelfest 2018 mentioned. All right, that's really good to hear, Southern, that you actually saw that Impaled Nazarene in 1998. Very cool. Very nice. Triste de Vanitas, buena salud. What else? Just try to be patient. I'm reading your comments. I won't be reading everything here, out loud because it doesn't make much of a sense. Anyway, Alex, I'm really happy to know that as a Patreon gift, which you got that clandestine Blaze CD, I hope you'll really, and I'm glad to hear that you really like it. Now, Alex could be telling you a couple of reasons why it's really cool to be a Rauta Patreon. I mean, he got a brand new clandestine Blaze CD as part of the deal, which, he's supporting the channel and all. So he could tell you why it is really cool to be one of those guys. Andres Meha is asking, what are my thoughts on Barrett's Running Down the Moon? I guess that's an album that I could be talking about as one of the classics or challenging the classics video series, which I will actually introduce next Sunday. It's not really my cup of tea. I don't think it's my favorite Barrett album, but there's definitely something really cool in Barrett's early works because it's so unique. It sounds like no other band. So there's that. And hello, Black and Hymns channel. Greeting from Belfast. I've been to Belfast once. What a dry city, but had some good bars, or at least a couple I visited. And hail from Dubrovnik, Croatia. Nice. I've been once to Croatia as well. Though I wasn't in Dubrovnik, I was in Split. But Dubrovnik seems like a cool city based on what I saw on Game of Thrones. If you should choose from Overkill, Vatane, Iron Maiden, Pantera, which one would you pick? Well, that is a question depending whether we're talking about CDs or seeing a gig. Now, I've never been an Overkill fan. Never really been a big Iron Maiden fan either. So I guess in a weird way, I would pick Pantera. I've seen Pantera a couple of times. I've seen Vatine a few times. I've seen Iron Maiden a few times. So I don't know. In terms of which one I would, listen to on CD, I don't know. That's a tricky question. Depends which era of Iron Maiden, for example, we're talking about. Depends on which era of Pantera we would be talking about. I wouldn't pick Overkill, though. What else? Oh, yeah, Black Metal Werewolf. My apple juice, which you call this one called Lafroig Quarter Cask. It's one of those Scotch whiskies with a lot of smoky and peaty taste, so I really like it. Hello, cheesy hawks, Chesney hawks. Sorry. Nice to have you here, by the way. And the main bro is drinking vodka Absolute. Well, that's a good thing. I sound like Bela Lugosi. I don't know if it's that compliment or otherwise, but Bela Lugosi was kind of a cool creep during his times. Yeah, Chesney Hawks always knows what I'm talking about. Um, Project Drone invited Vani Vikernes and his wife to stream. That would be awesome. It would be really cool to actually interview Vikernes someday, face to face, preferably. But if not, well, at least over Zoom, it would be really, really cool. Um, yes, Charter Lamp is basically saying the same what I am thinking about. Seeing it helping is something like to stay in business, basically. If nobody supports most bands can't have the funds to create the art, so it's that no reason like the art. Why not support? That's the idea, exactly. Put your money where your mouth is. And hello, Natalie. How is Germany doing? I hope you're good and well. Men bro, onko metalli rappeutunut 90-90-luvulla? Mistä syystä? How to translate it? Has the metal, gone in decline from the 1990s, and for what reason? No, I don't think metal has been in decline. I think metal just transforms over times. Now, everybody has its own favorite era. Some people, older ones, maybe boomers, they probably like the 1970s because they got with that age. It comes with their nostalgia. People of my age, we grew up with the 80s and 90s. That is a special era for us. Now, some people are probably thinking that, early 2000s or 2010s, that's the best era. So I don't think metal is in decline or decaying. I just think it changes over time. For example, I think nowadays a lot more good bands in black metal alone seems to appear versus what was going on in the early 90s. I mean, for example, we had this discussion about Norwegian black metal in the 90s. And in my opinion, Norwegian black metal started in decline around 1995, 1996. And by 1997, a lot of bands were like B-grade versions. Now I know some people are like, hey, Emperor created anthems, or Mayhem created, Wolfslayer Abyss, or Oliver created Nothing's Madrigal, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there are a few, highlights during that year, but most of the bands were not as good. Wolfslayer Abyss, in my opinion, for example, isn't even close to the Mysteries. Anthems isn't close to what was going in the Nights at Eclipse. Dark Throne didn't release an album, blah, blah, blah. So many bands were worse in the late 90s and early 90s. But then again, already in 2010s, so many black metal bands are, in my opinion, a lot better than what they used to be in the early 90s. Just different bands nowadays, obviously. So bands change over time. And hello to Quebec. How is the French black metal going? Alrighty. Brian became a Patreon member. Thank you so much, Brian. My humblest regards and thank yous. Yeah, Silver Snake. Yes, just focus on the scene what you like. So if you like 90s metal noir from France, stick to that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I still think it's good idea to keep your eyes and ears peeled for new bands because, in my opinion, there are lots of good bands that just come out. And Silver Snake, this one is to you. When you mentioned in that Ymir review, like, hey, how come these new bands come and blah, 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 they don't have anything to do. For example, Ymir is an old band from the 90s. So, I don't know. In my opinion, age brings perspective. Now, you have to understand a lot of those bands that were a thing in the 90s. They were 20s, people young age, a lot of passion, not so much understanding. And many cool cult albums of today, I mean, which we see as classics, which came out like early 90s, where they were done by kids, people from 16 to 22, something like that. So nowadays, people are like, because they're older, they're like, hey, I'm not going to listen to that shit because it's done by people under 30. It doesn't really make sense in case you're listening to, let's say, early Emperor or early Satyricon and stuff like that, because that's exactly the stuff that was made by kids, back in the days. It just feels different because you're now older. versus what were you back in the days. For example, I'm roughly a couple of months age difference. I'm like 2 months, I think, older than Ishan. But when I found Emperor, I was about like teenager, maybe in my 20s. And Emperor was, those guys were 20s as well. But it seemed so cool because it was new and something like wow. But if I had been finding Emperor when I was like in my 40s and those guys were like 20s, I would probably be like, man, these kids of nowadays, I would have had this boomer mentality. Now, the only reason probably I don't have it, because I've been doing these reviews for so long, I've seen people young and old doing the music. So for me, it's not an age question. If you're doing good music, it doesn't matter if you're 15 or 50. That age is just meaningless. But I've seen a lot of this attitude with people that, because I'm 35, these guys of 22, they are young kids, they don't know jack shit. And I think it's foolish. It's foolish to, overlook some bands because they're younger than you, especially because so many classic albums, not only in black metal, mind you, were done by kids. Early Metallica, kids, early Slayer, kind of a kids. So, you know, uh, it's usually these kids we're talking about who create the really passionate music. And when people get older, well, they have more skill, they have more experience, they have more perspective, but they might lack the passion. I mean, if you're 50 years old guy doing black metal, you're probably doing it for very, very different reasons and different ways than what were you doing when you're 20s. So ups and downs, cons and pros. All right, getting back to reading your comments once again, so I don't ramble at all, like, because that's just me. I just get rambling and musing, and then I just ignoring your comments. Alrighty, what else? Merciful Fate, Into the Unknown, favorite song or album? Well, never been a Merciful Fate fan, and mainly because I really can't stand King Diamond's vocals. I mean, I respect the man, I just can't stand his singing. What else? What do I think about Dream an Evil Dream 3 by Evangelist? I haven't heard it, but I'm not really a fan of the band really. But I haven't heard the album yet. What can I say about Goat Moon albums just before this under a Finnish Steel Storm? I've never been a big fan of Goat Moon, to be honest. I've never probably listened to them on album. I was discussing this on my gaming streams a couple of days ago. I mostly can't stand too melodic black metal bands. I know it's a weird thing for me to say, I guess, but I am mostly about raw end of black metal. I can enjoy a lot of bands doing atmospheric stuff as well. But when it comes to very melodic black metal bands, I mean, it's like Dijksen, Mergruning, um, and not too many. Cielo Violinen is doing good melodic black metal, but most bands, not exactly my cup of tea. And Natalie, nice to hear that you're doing fine, even if slow. And sorry for replying everybody in backlog. Probably some people already leave the stream by the time I'm able to comment. So, reading these as well. Hello, Betty. I don't have exactly a comment and demolition hammer. That just sounds familiar, but I don't remember having heard it for a long time. All right. OJ, no, I don't have Nightside demo on tape. I mean, I might have my personal copy somewhere, but I don't know. At least I don't have anything for sale. Have I heard the three-way split of Panzerwar, Lungtoucher, and Maidenhair of England? The Battle of Jorvik. No, I haven't, but sounds interesting. Cheers, Van Nocturna. If you need any tips from me regarding weightlifting, just let me know. And my opinion on early era of Anathema, My Dying Bride, and Paradise Lost, that's a really interesting question for me because it was like when I was like around 18 and 19, something like that, when I found those bands via my friends. And I remember liking early Anathema because, Crestfallen EP, they sounded, very doomy and kind of deathy with crawling vocals. And back then it was much like a brother to My Dying Bride. And Paradise Lost wasn't very far from that. I mean, they all had these really gloomy and doomy kind of a stuff, blending doom metal and doom metal and death metal together, and having this kind of a gothic sound. Now, obviously, Anathema, especially, started using a lot of clean vocals before the others, I guess. My Dying Bride started honing their stuff as well, like after one album. But I mean, they did nice work with that. With that, but Paradise Lost became my favorite. They all went kind of a lighter ways, and by lighter I mean less growly, less metallic riffs. Even though Paradise Lost came back much later, but still. So I have a fond memories of those times, like early '90s when I found the bands. But to be honest, like Anathema, I totally started skipping the band since by the mid '90s. My Dying Bride has been an on and off band for me. Sometimes I have liked and checked them out, but there are probably some albums which I haven't heard at all. But then again, Paradise Lost, I mean, I lost my interest in Paradise Lost in 1996, more or less. Then a few years later, around maybe 2006, roughly that era, I kind of found the band again. I was, biking. There was some internet connection problem. I decided to head out during my gaming session. Took my MP3 player and started listening to some Paradise Lost, and I was like, "Man, this is so good!" Once again, I haven't been listening to this band for 10 years, and then I got back on track. Got every Paradise Lost CD which I had missed, and I started buying them, and it was like going back to my youth days. And well, I still do like Paradise Lost a lot. And those early days were quite different, because like I said, those bands were so much stoomier and deathier. But I don't know, I kind of like the softer side later on. It's very different from what I'm expecting from a black metal or death metal band. So I definitely have a soft spot for that kind of gothic metal, if you will, which I think applies to Anathema, My Dying Bride, and Paradise Lost, all of them. So, a long answer to a short question. And of Warren Wood, I can pretty much agree with your point about old farts buying CDs and all that stuff. Now, I'm nowadays kind of a bad person in terms of buying CDs and vinyls because I get so much stuff for review. And obviously, I keep only the best ones to myself, and the rest I just sell, trade, give away. And that's also the reason why I don't buy a lot of CDs and vinyls these days, because I have hard time even listening to the ones I get for review. Now, recently, though, for example, I traded from my friend a couple of Origin CDs because, well, I like the band a lot, and I miss a couple of CDs from my collection, which I want. So every now and then I do these trades or buy CDs, usually secondhand, I guess, because I'm not in a hurry. But if there's something that I really need to have, like special edition, like I get it. But I have been I have had hard time buying new CDs and LPs for past few years now due to the list I mentioned. But I have a list, of CDs to buy, so I buy them every now and then. What else? Well, Nocturne is asking an interesting question, like, what do I think about the idea of Finnish exclusive genre of metal called sisu metal? I think that's a kind of a ridiculous genre thing, but then again, sisu is a very Finnish thing, so in a way it makes sense, and then again, as a genre, it doesn't really make sense. IAV is asking, like, what are my thoughts on mainstream black metal bands? Greetings from Greece. Hello to Greece. Favorite Greek bands? I guess I would say Euphoria nowadays. Early Reading Christ, cool, and Raven Cult is probably my all-time Greek favorite, even though I know it's not so much Greek sounding. But regarding your other question about mainstream black metal bands, that could be a video on its own. Like I used to be this very anti-commercial guy in black metal and all that stuff. Nowadays, I don't really give a fuck. I mean, if a band, say bands like Batine, want to make it commercial, want to make it mainstream, go ahead. It's not my time to criticize it too much. I mean, after all, if you're honest about it, if you're not lying about it and blah blah blah, fucking do it, man. I don't care. I believe that the audience is ready to take the vote. I mean, if they don't like bands getting commercial and big and mainstream, they just say, fuck it. I'm not going to spend my money on the merchandise and going to see the gigs. And if the band audiences like it, why not? I mean, Behemoth is a grand example of this. At the same time, they're doing, well, at least Nurgle is doing important job, fighting the Polish church and government in terms of about, being atheist, somewhat at least, and about freedom of speech and the freedom to blaspheme. I think he's on the right cause. Musically, I don't care so much. I think the last Behemoth album I heard was probably the crappiest, one of the crappiest anyway. So it depends. Like some bands can be really good, even if they go mainstream. It's not like it's making the music any less good per se. I mean, if a band becomes commercial and the music is less good, it is because the music is just not that good. But the reason isn't, in my opinion, becoming a mainstream band. And it could go also different ways. For example, Darkthrone, my all-time black metal favorite band. I mean, they changed style from black metal to something totally different. One cannot say they're really mainstream. And in my opinion, they have gone to shittier direction, even though they kind of picked up with their latest album. They kind of corrected the course, so to say. But, I mean, point is, it doesn't matter how commercial or mainstream a black metal band is. It doesn't necessarily correlate with the quality of music. So, I don't know. It can be a really good and it can be a really bad thing also at the same time. Um, OJ is asking, how would I release my first demo this day? That's a good question, but it's also a hard question because it uh, requires me to explain this quite thoroughly. Now, the thing is, first and foremost, I would kind of like triple check that the band name I'm gonna use for my first demo, it's not in use. I would make sure it's not on Metal Archives and do other maybe Discog site runs and all that stuff, and make sure it's not taken. I would focus doing a interesting cover. I would double think, like figure out to have an impact with the name. Obviously, I wouldn't make it too long. Maybe 3, 4 songs, less than 20 minutes, because what you really need is to think that people have short attention span, not spam, and also that people want to right from the bat understand what's going on. They don't want anything too complicated. You can go all artsy fartsy. You can go all Isan later on. But if I was to figuring out my new band's first demo, I would make sure that everything from the title to the name to the cover, everything would be, you know, sensible. Like there are lots of bands which have really shitty titles. They might have some artsy fartsy album name, which doesn't make any fucking sense unless you fucking Google it. And you really can't expect people to Google. So if you have a shitty name for your band or your demo or your album, it's going to be a big minus, in my opinion. If you have a shitty cover, well, it's going to be a minus, but not as big because everybody on Spotify, I don't think people do that much of a cover checking. But you have to have something interesting in your name. Not necessarily band name has to be very clever because all the good names are basically more or less taken. But don't name your band as it sounds like a joke. because I don't think most people who want some good music are looking for a joke band. Like if your band was like something like Dissection was in the beginning, like some fucking pink carrot. I really don't remember what it was, or like some mayhems, like a fucking rotten sandwich kind of a thing. You don't want to fuck around. I mean, if you want to make a name, make sure it sticks. Make sure it's something different. And make sure that you don't have these 12 minutes tracks with some fucking boring intro. And then I would make sure that your social media presence, at least Facebook, but preferably Bandcamp, Instagram, that kind of stuff is taken care of. To have certain kind of a plan and reply fans quickly. Make sure that if somebody asks you, you're ready to reply. Don't just handle the music, even though the music is the main thing. But obviously, you have to have a lot of effort for your band. You have to be ready to sell if people want to buy. You have to be ready to have a lot of work for, finding a label to find your band. Do a lot of gigs if you can. Now, I know there are lots of bands, including mine, which don't do gigs, or at least many of them. But in case you want to do something else, and if I was to have a new band, I would just fucking try to work, because when you get older, you get more busy. You have family, you have work, you have responsibilities. You have less time to invest in your band. But if you're young and passionate and you have a lot of time in your hands, put them in your band and maybe it will fucking fly. There's way more competition in terms of bands getting recognition, competing for, the visibility and all that stuff. So, in case you want to release a demo and make it an impactful, make sure your music kicks ass and you have all the things I mentioned prior to this one with your band, and then maybe you have some minor chance to get shit done. I think that those kind of bullet points should do the trick. At least these are very basic things to do. What else? More whiskey, I guess. Hi, any Nightside live videos? There are some on YouTube. Some people have uploaded some Nightside live videos, so they might be on YouTube as well. Regarding my other band, Annihilatus, we only did one gig, so I don't think that one has live videos on YouTube, but I don't know. Only one gig done, probably nobody took a footage. What else? Rob, I'll take your Goat Moon advice. Thank you. What death metal band can you recommend? A lot of them. I would say start with Skeletal Remains if you want something new. What is my opinion on black and roll bands? I think most of them kind of suck. They don't do rock and roll properly. They don't do black metal properly. It's a compromise. So I would say bands that stick to rock and roll, hard rock, or whatever are better, and bands that stick to black metal are better than the bands doing black and roll. But yeah, there are bands that can just, do both. Is 2021 going to be a better year for black metal than 2020? It's hard to say because 2020 was really good and regarding black metal. So I don't know. It's hard to say. 3 months in barely. So hard to say for sure. Morias Finwright doing fine and having whiskey and talking to you. A lot of people there doing fine. I hope you're as well as well. What else? What I think about nihilism? I think nihilism is very important for people to understand. We're all meaningless. We're just fucking ball in space. Our life is inherently meaningless as well. We're the only ones who can give life any kind of meaning, but whatever we do might be totally meaningless to other people. I think that should tell you about my view of nihilism. If not, please do ask more. What else? what do I think is the best band to switch singers? That's a really good question. Um, Anthrax is actually one of my favorite bands that switched singers because while I do like belladonna style, I also liked how Anthrax survived the chains and how Bush became really strong vocalist. Some ways better than belladonna, but I mean it takes time to adjust. When you change a vocalist, especially in a band where there's more clean vocals than raspier vocals, like I mean, you can probably um, replace a vocalist in black metal band way easier than in a thrash metal band, heavy metal band, doom metal band, etc. So Anthrax comes to my mind first. Um, Iron Maiden, I wouldn't mention, and there are lots of Doom bands which I haven't even heard because Doom isn't my favorite thing. So, for example, I couldn't mention Saint Vitus, even though I know the band. Do I have a favorite Unskapt album? Let me see if I can find it. Um, no, I must be thinking some other band. No, I don't think I have a favorite Unskapt album. I'm thinking some other band when I'm saying sorry. Got confused. No, I don't have. Um, yeah, there are better black metal bands and death metal bands than Behemoth. I'm very much aware of that. What was the last Dark Throne album which I thought was awesome as opposed to just decent? Uh, I'm not even sure. Sardonic Wrath? Sardonic Hate, Wrath, whatever it is. Or was it Circle the Wagons? I probably have to take a look at my list because I'm mixing years now in my head. Um, which one was it? Um, no, it was Dark Thrones and Black Flags. That was a really good album from Dark Throne, but that was already in 2008. I keep mixing that name and Circle the Wagons in my head. So yeah, Dark Thrones and Black Flags. That was the one I meant in my mention. Brian Mons is asking me about new Aura release. I haven't heard Aura. Now I have to double check the band. Are we talking about a band called Aura? Aura from Switzerland. Oh, it's the band with the library photo. I haven't heard it, but they have a cool um, photo on Metal Archives. Reminds me a lot of Mephorash, but I haven't heard the band Aura just yet. Anyway, is it in my review plans? Not currently. If it appears here as a physical copy, I will review it, obviously. But I will only stick to the review physical copies in order to review a thing. Chesney Hawks, it's nice that you considered the points what I said about demo. Good work. And hello, Voltman, bonjour. And hello, Renan. Main bro is asking me, how do I think the situation with COVID-19 will develop and when we'll go back to the good old days? Not necessarily ever, if you're asking a skeptic, me. And when we were getting better in terms of developing situation for gigs and all that stuff, well, I guess this year could be it. But it depends how much we can fight the people who are anti-vaccination, anti-masking, and all that stuff. So I don't know. This spring will tell us a lot how these vaccination work and how the new versions of COVID will react to those vaccinations. Alex is asking me when do I see live gigs in Finland. I don't know. It's very blurred. What do I think about Black Magic SS? I've heard only, I think, one album, and it wasn't my cup of tea, so I don't have any deeper insight into that band. Do I think anyone will ever get to the level of Motorhead, dare to say higher than them? I think the days of those kind of monster bands are more or less gone. Not necessarily, I mean, they're big bands, obviously in metal as well, but the level of quality, having the personality of Lemmy and the like, and the music, I kind of doubt it, but I don't know. It's hard to say what the future brings. I don't want to be pessimistic about it. My opinion about Mgwa or MJLA is that it's my favorite Polish black metal band, along with Graveland. I think I've been praising it quite a bit on the channel as well. Magic 69 is asking where the Death from Above cover art is from, which is that is my band Annihilatus. And he's saying that Toxic Reasons, the punk band, is using the same image on one of their old albums. I also know that the Finnish thrash metal band Wounds, which has a Stormhide and Goatmood connection, used one version of the image. It's one of those propaganda posters from Second World War. So it's very, very old image of this bomb plane, you know, flying in the sky. But yeah, an old propaganda poster from World War II. Waldman, I'm happy that you liked the dissection review. Mainboard is asking me a good question: symbolic or scream bloody gore? Well, I actually did my worst to best of death a couple of years ago. You would find the answer there. But my favorite death albums are, in fact, symbolic, leprosy, and scream bloody gore. To find the order, well, check out the video and let me know what you think about it. Um, Adanato Kosmiki is asking, like, as a Finnish citizen, what are your thoughts about why Finland has a lot of metal music demand per capita, especially music extreme metal territory? That's a good question. I think partially it is. Finland is quite isolated, and also we're not known as the most social country in the world. We have quite a bit of darkness here. Lengthy winter, lengthy fall time. So we have a lot of dark times. Really, we don't have the culture of party people. Like, if you go to Mediterranean country, especially places like Italy and Spain, we don't have that discotheque party culture. Like where people are too happy. So I guess we're kind of a melancholic people in that sense, and that I think is one of the reasons why so many countries, which are part of Scandinavia or Nordic countries, have this resonation with creating darker music. That is Norway, Sweden, Finland, but not only those bands. And well, Finland is also a country that we're relatively, I don't know if you are rich, but let's say we have low level of corruption, so we have a good network for people even when they're unemployed and all that stuff. So people are not suffering as much in third world countries, which means that even a student can probably buy a guitar or other musical instrument. So when you combine that possibility to buy an instrument to the mentality that we have these darker times and not that party culture, well, that does the trick. People are, I guess, bound to do this melancholic music. And when you can buy an instrument, guitar, drums, fucking trombone, I don't know, then you have the habit of doing this kind of stuff. And well, obviously, there are lots of bands beyond extreme metal, like Nightwish being a grand example from of Finnish metal music beyond extreme metal. So I think that kind of creates this blend. You have to kind of filter out your melancholy or your aggression or your disappointment in life. You grab a guitar and start doing some dark riffs, and that's how you have your black metal band or death metal band. Doesn't really matter. I hope that it answers your question. What I think about South American scene in the 90s, I guess you mean bands like Latin America and so forth. I think it was a vile, vicious, intense scene. Really good to have those bands, in my opinion. What else? John Gabrd is asking me a good question. Are there any bands that interest you also lyrically? Yes. When I find a band, an album, which is really good lyrically, I get aroused. Well, figuratively speaking, obviously, I don't have a hard on because I read some lyrics. But when I find lyrics which I can really relate to, it takes me to a next level. For unfortunately, black metal bands and death metal bands are not usually the type of bands which have really good lyrics resonating with me. Death metal mostly because way too often it's just some fictional violence or serial killer lyrics and whatsoever. I mean, those lyrics can be really good, but they don't really resonate on a personal level. I mean, I don't feel the connection between me as a person and a somewhat some killer or murderer who just stabs people to death. I don't know why I'm shaking my hand here. Also, there are lots of black metal bands which are way too abstract in terms of lyrics. It might seem like a row or two cool words. Take this chalice, sacrifice the serpent, drink thy foul wine, do those words of blaspheme to enter the transcendental world. And I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? That is fucking nonsense. Yeah, it sounds good when you just do your black metal screamy vocals and add the layers of guitar and drums to that. But those lyrics don't fucking resonate with me. First of all, way too often, black metal lyrics are fucking nonsense to me. Secondly, I'm not a spiritual or religious person. So when you're like, oh Father, who are in hell, take me to your dark, glorious pleasures, embrace me with your unearthly shadows, or whatever. I'm just, blurting out these words. When these lyrics are like that kind of stuff, it feels nonsense to me. So I resonate more with, trash metal band lyrics. I resonate more with Pink Floyd lyrics. I resonate more with, suicidal tendencies lyrics. But I do enjoy great lyrics. Good lyrics are something that, just sends, chills through my spine, giving me goosebumps. They're really, really good lyrics. But, well, most metalheads are not exactly poets, which means you don't really get to see that many good lyrics in any kind of music. And metal is no exception to that. What else? Hello, Vlad Tebes. How are you doing? Estonia. How are you doing, Estonia? Animal Man Machine is asking me tape versus vinyl versus CD. Well, I can't stand tapes. I don't like cassettes at all. I think it's obsolete format. The cover is like a fucking size of a stamp. You really can't even read the lyrics there, especially you're getting older, and you have to just fucking rewind or fast forward when you want to get to a single song, or if you're left the song, the tape that is unfinished, and the sound quality, nope. CD for the use of for the sake of easiness. LPs, well, they're pretty cool. I mean, I'll use this as an example. Here is a review tape. Wow, the size. Then you get CD. It gets better. These are, by the way, all my review stuff which I have on my table. So I'm just picking random ones here. And then you have vinyl. Now, if you're a cover art lover, which one would you pick? Vinyl or the tape over here? Now, when it comes to how you play the music, in your music player, obviously CD is the easiest. It's the one you can handle the best. You just slide it in and it plays. You don't have to switch sides, which is kind of uncomfortable when you're, for example, when I was reviewing this Sielunviolinen 7-inch. I'll use this as an example. Two sides, and one side has one track and the other has two tracks. So put my needle here. It runs for, I don't know, 6-7 minutes. Then I jump, switch, go back to the computer, do my work, jump up, switch. So in terms of that being CD, I just take my remote and restart the whole CD. So yeah, I definitely prefer CD in that sense. But when it comes to art and the overall feeling, I would say vinyl is the best. So it's not that simple, really. Does theater or cinema occupy any place in your life? Yes, both do. My wife, in fact, works in theatrics, does custom designing. So she has been taking me quite a lot to theater, which I can like, especially if there's a good theater play going on. And I do enjoy good movies. But nowadays, I'm more about TV shows versus movies because I like the lengthier narrative. That is, if there's a TV show, say, with 10 episodes, 1 hour each, 10 hours, versus a movie which is only like 2 hours. For me, it's reading a short story versus a novel. So I like TV shows more than movies or cinemas in that sense. But that's a really good question, by the way. Carl Short removed his question. Can't see it anymore. Kukkakula is babbling something Finnish about human barbecue. Alrighty. And Natalie, I agree with you. All albums of that. Couldn't decide. Natalie, you and me, we click on that. Oops, scrolling the back scroll. Kukkakula is asking, sorry, it was OJ opinion on Cult Shop. You mean the one in Helsinki? Well, I don't have any specific opinion about it. Peishuutis, morjesta pöytään, hyvin hurisee, viskiä on. Ja vissyäkin on. Chuck Schuldiner was from another dimension. Yeah, that's why he got this cancer in his brain. Beherit interview will be released next month. I hope this month because we just started April. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the next interview is supposed to be Beherit, which I did last weekend on Zoom. So it's not a face-to-face interview, but a Zoom interview. But anyway, it's already done. And I'm waiting for my editor to, edit the interview and then probably release it as soon as possible. And it seems like I'm lagging a lot behind with your comments on the back scroll because I'm reading comments that which I discussed like 15 minutes ago. Which upcoming albums are you looking forward to? Nothing really, because I mean, the thing is, the ones that I've heard and I liked, they're not upcoming for me. except like Cannibal Corpse. But mostly, I don't really know what to expect because so many new bands seem to fail me. I mean, bands which have already something out. So I don't really expect anything from new bands these days. I mean, I just when I listen to it, I figure it out then whether or not I like it. So yeah, can't say I'm too much looking forward to any given album. I guess I hope that this Cannibal Corpse album, getting that on CD soon, so I can make the review. And I'm looking forward that you get to hear it because well, that's a really good album. But I don't, other than that, I don't really know if there's anything special. What else? Germans are for Finns like Italians for Germans. What is that supposed to mean? Do you have a serial killer that you find most interesting? Yes. Vlad Tepes, it's not a weird question. Zodiac is definitely my favorite serial killer because he never got caught. Um, Wolfman is asking did I have time to read books recently? Well, I usually don't have a lot of time to read books. I'm way too occupied by, work, family, Rauta, powerlifting, games. Um, and then I have this problem of focusing on reading. And then I'm also reading, magazines. So I read rarely. I mean, like fiction. I more about read biographies, but for example, currently I'm reading some role playing material, which isn't interesting at all unless you're a role player. I Harakiri for the Skies, yeah, has good lyrics. I gotta read it because the new album is once again good. And I agree with Natalie once again about good lyrics and have an awesome bonus. Definitely, it's a bonus. It's not mandatory for a band to have good lyrics, but it definitely helps you to like with the band. Like I do like some Paradise Lost lyrics. I do like some Dark Throne lyrics. So definitely that kind of connection makes it deeper for me. And yeah, Paradise Lost have excellent lyrics, not in the first albums though, but anyway. If you had to choose any Mediterranean country with which would you live, which one you would choose, guys? I don't know, maybe Greece. You know, there's something that I really like about Greek people. So maybe that. This is a good question. Is it true that many Finnish metal bands are so prolific because the government support is so good that the actual band members don't need to hold a day job and they can focus just on creating music? Now that is not true. I mean, obviously, if you don't need a lot of money, if you are ready to eat oatmeal every day, I do. Um, and if you're not looking forward to buy a new car, whatever, if you're just okay with not having much money, yes, you can get that government support, like being unemployed and all that stuff. But no, it's not like the government is supporting artists very well. So no, it's not true. So yeah, most like based hoodies already said Finnish bands do have day jobs. For example, Horna guys are a good example. Infection, the guitar player from Horna, for example, he works at a record shop when he's not touring with Horna. He used to be chef also, and he used to work as a bartender, which are, I mean, those are the kind of jobs you probably can hop on, hop off when your band needs you to. But yeah, Brian Mons is having trouble getting cork out of meat bottle. How do you get it out? You don't need to get it out. You just finish your meat bottle. Simple as that. Waldman is asking me a hard question about theater. Am I more Shakespeare or Samuel Beckett? I'm neither. I mean, I'm not expert on theater. I just watch whatever when it's suitable for me. And Christian Torres is commenting once again. The Impaled Nazarene members, for instance, they have regular jobs beside music. I think I read about Mika Luttinen working for taxi, special taxi, but nevertheless, so basic job, even though. And Oblivion Strain has been following death and thrash metal scene since the 1984. You must be an old fuck. Maslot's what the fuck is this supposed to be? Maslov is asking me, did I watch HBO's Chernobyl? Yes, I did a couple of years ago, and actually, Annihilators, one of the new Annihilator songs on the upcoming album is inspired by this series. So there is that. Hello, Luna Blue. How are you doing? I hope it's nice in Great Britain. Nice to have you here. Do I care for brutal death metal? Suffocation, Mortal Decay, Progen Hope, etc. I think Based Hoodies should already know that I love brutal death metal, especially when it's more technical kind. But yeah, I've reviewed quite a few brutal death metal albums for Rauta, and for the reason that I love brutal death metal. So yeah. John Gebert is saying, like, talking about the quality of lyrics in extreme metal. I think there is still some lyricists capable of writing poetry. For example, Aaron Stathrop of My Dying Pride or Alan from Primordial. I think those are good examples when you can really do good lyrics, but they are scarce and few. So I wouldn't use them as examples like how metal music can have really good lyrics all the time, but yeah. Maybro is asking, like, what PC games or PS5 or PS4 games am I into? That's a long list. Basically, you'd say I'm not into sport games. I'm not into, dating games like hentai stuff. But I do action adventures. I like role-playing games. I like some strategy games. For example, on PC, one of my favorite gaming series is Civilization. But then again, I also have played games like Sims and enjoyed them. And role-playing games, I'm a big fan of them, being a role-playing nerd geek, actually, from mid-80s. I think I started my role-playing games in 1987 or so. What else? Well, action games. Currently, I've been playing, for example, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, more than 100 hours. It's nice to be a Viking and behead Christian popes, well, priests, technically speaking. I really liked Ghost of Tsushima on PS4. Really great samurai game. I think it was my favorite of 2020. What else? I do like Watch Dogs games. After I finished Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I would actually go play either the latest Spider-Man or the latest Watch Dogs. And I will be streaming those games. By the way, now it's a totally good time to mention that. Yes, the next interview will be beheaded as soon as my editor gets out. And as soon as I'm done with this stream, I will move right there, open my telly, open my Xbox, and start streaming on Twitch. So in case you want to answer some of the questions after the stream is done here, you can just go to twitch.tv/rautafin. In case you don't have a Twitch account, well, you can pretty quickly do it, and then you can ask questions there as well. In case you just want to follow the stream but don't care about asking questions, you don't need an account on Twitch to follow it. But obviously, it makes more interesting if you just create or sign in your Twitch account and then join my stream. And then you can just, keep talking with me. I have my iPad where you can read the comments. And while I play, I will keep talking because that's what I use with my game streams. Some people are probably confused that when I stream gaming, I'm all about gaming and I don't talk, or I talk only about gaming. That's untrue. What I usually do on my gaming streams, which I do usually multiple times a week, is that I basically do the same kind of stuff what I do here. I do questions and answers. So while I play those games, I also reply to your questions. I might be commenting the game, obviously, because it's a lot of fun for me to, comment the game and what happens in the gaming world. But I also want to keep it as a channel to talk to you, more on the weekly or almost daily basis versus having these YouTube streams only once a month. And now there's a reason why I do those more often than these. While these are certainly fun thing to do, it's just me before the microphone and the camera. Really nothing else to do but, drink booze and talk to you. I mean, it's fun, but it's not maybe as relaxing for me as, that just sit down, have my gamepad on, play the game, and I can still, talk to you, but at least I have something else to do. Maybe it's a little bit, dividing my attention between the comments and the game. But I mean, I'm quite good in multitasking, even if I say that myself. So my point is, you don't have to always wait for these monthly streams to happen. I promised early 2021 that I tried to do these monthly streams like once a month, every first weekend of any given month. Usually that is Friday or Saturday, and then I will do 1 hour, 2 hour stream and answering your questions and commenting the stuff you want me to comment and blah blah blah. But if you want to, just catch up with me with more often, I guess, and you don't mind me playing while I talk to you, well, those Twitch streams are a very good way to reach to me. Obviously, you can always pester me with questions on Rauta's Discord. Obviously, you can use Facebook, you can use Instagram. And when I have time, I will reply to you and I will talk to you because, you know, a route community wouldn't be a community if it was just me. So obviously, you people out there are as important as anybody. So it's for me, it's really rewarding to have this communication with you, be it chat or video. I'm just saying that in case you want to ask me questions more often and not with YouTube only, just make sure that you have that Twitch account done and you can just hop into the streams because this will happen on every week. So there is that. Now I'm gonna be ready to actually start shutting down the stream. So I'm gonna answer your final questions before moving on to my Xbox and start doing the gaming stream. So I will continue this chat with you in case you want to join. I know most people you won't join, probably nobody, but at least you know that I will be there soon. But I will read the last comments from the backlog and finish my whiskey before doing that. And yeah, based hoodies. Working at a record shop sounds like fun. It can be fun, but I mean, it's a kind of a low end job. And working at a record shop means that you sell albums and you pack them. It's not really a dream job for anybody. I mean, it's a good entry level job when you're a student and all that stuff. But if I was working at a record store as a clerk in my 40s, I would be fucking, worried about myself. And my favorite Horn album is the Evangels one, to reply to you, OJ. I believe Australia is 50 years this year. Hey, congratulations. Just invite me to your party when you're 50 and I'll buy you a beer or something else. Luna Blue, nice to hear that you have a nice weather past couple of days. I tried to get some skinny dipping today, but fuck, the lake was frozen. Brian Mons, how come you only find now that Rauta means iron? That, boom, mind blowing. That has been since the day one that Rauta is iron, and that is a reason because I've been stating from the very first day on the channel that Rauta is metal on metal. The other metal is obviously the music, duh, and the other iron part means, lifting, powerlifting. because they're saying like metal you're actually lifting. So you finding iron is Rauta. You're quite late to the party, but I guess better late than never. And yeah, I guess I already replied to your Assassin's Creed Valhalla comment. Going 100 hours in, I'm in Vinland currently in the game, so America. I think I have 4 areas still we're checking out. No thoughts about new Bottom After Midnight song. I don't listen to individual songs. Chesney, yes, I had a Commodore 64 when I was a kid, but by role playing games, I mean pen and paper role playing games started in 1987. Before that, I was playing with my Commodore 64, and I get Amiga 500 around maybe 1990, 1991, something like that. So yeah, I started playing with Commodore 64, then moved to Amiga, and PC I got like as late as 1996. Yeah, VIC 20 is a classic. Any tips for bench press for 14 years old? I can say I envy you. If you're starting bench press at the age of 14, fucking A. I mean, I salute you, my friend. I think the most important thing to do when you're such young age that your body is growing a lot, and I mean your tendons, your muscle, everything. Uh, Eat a lot, rest a lot. Don't overtrain your body. Rest is as important as training. So be smart about it. Get a program. Train with more experienced people if you can. If you have older brothers, sisters, or friends who do the gym, well, try to do train with them. But it's really good if you're doing bench press and stuff at the age of 14. You will be fucking strong by the time you're 20. You get competing. If possible, get a personal trainer, and if possible, try to get your parents invested in that stuff. Because I mean, if they can support your hobby in powerlifting, going to the gym, and all that stuff, it's really, really good. My favorite album cover from last year. Fuck, that's a horrible question because I don't remember. I mean, there was obviously good art last year as well, but have I kept any kind of record out of it? No way. I probably should have, but I'm not that visual person, so can't say. Walkman, nice to hear about that ex nihilo anecdote. Yeah, it's a name that might have existed way before these two bands from United States. But yeah, that just proves my point. What I said about demo bands that figure out like that you have a name that isn't in use in metal. Carlos SM is asking me that about craft beer that I am into craft beer. Well, the scene in Finland is pretty good nowadays. Thank you for asking. Craft beer scene is evolving and progressing all the time. It's a lot better than say 5 years ago, and I think they're really good breweries nowadays. Coolhead would be my favorite one from Finland, and I'm hoping to start some kind of collaboration with them. But now Corona is slowing things down. But I will get back to that collaboration possibility later on when things are better. And how hard it is to get imported stuff there. Well, yeah, we can get imported stuff right here from different parts. I mean, there are lots of importing companies, and especially in bars, you can drink many kinds of beers. But when it comes to ordering beer from outside European Union, well, there are taxes and taxes, so it's not that easy. But it's possible, but you just have to be ready to spend money on that. And hello, Brett. My day has been pretty nice. I went on a bike tour with my kid. I did some sauna. I did a workout, had some Easter lamb, Tried to do skinny dipping, but the lake was frozen. So disappointing. Thanks for asking. How are you, my friend? Waldman is commenting the ex nihilo playing technical death metal. Well, that sounds interesting. And John Gabriel is asking me, do I enjoy some avant-garde metal? Mostly, no. I kind of hate artsy fartsy things. But I mean, if you have good music, who I am to say no? But most avant-garde bands don't really resonate me with me. And Ty Catafalque, the last album, I barely got like midways, and then I was delete. Have I ever played Hogs of War on PS1? No, but I know the game by name. Have I ever played Quake games? I have played Quake 1 in 1997 or so, Quake 2 when it came out. I remember getting the graphics card for that, from my work. I was in an importing company for games and gaming accessories. It was really beautiful back in the days. Then I think it was Quake 3 I skipped, if that was the multiplayer only game. Quake 4 I played through at an expo where I was working. I had these shifts of, 30 minutes or an hour, blah, blah, blah. I was demoing the game, and it was quite boring, to be honest. But yeah, I have had my sessions with Quake games. I think the first Quake, in a way, was the best, but I liked Quake 2 as well, and the soundtracks were pretty cool. Hello, Nikita. You follow me on Instagram. I follow maybe you back. Maybe if you have a gun and a horrible name, I will follow you back, and then I'm scared to death that you will kill me. Leprophiliac. Okay, that's kind of interesting names. Yeah, Urgs is saying good things about body needs to adapt to power, goes to weightlifting as well as in general a correct program must fit. Yes, I agree. If you're young especially, you will need your body time to adjust to lifting weights and all that stuff. But Arturus, about that band, I really hated the two first albums back in the days. I don't know how I would feel about it later on. Anyway, about my crushing or challenging the classics video series, please do watch my Sunday video when I get out. I need to actually edit it tomorrow so I can fucking upload it and fix it so you can comment. Do I know or listen to Kadak? So I remember the band from Poland, but I haven't been listening to it for many, 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 many years. All right, have I played Carmageddon? Yes, I fucking loved first two Carmageddon games back in the days. It was so fun, to just drive those games and drive over people and man, I love that shit. That is really great. All right, I was meant to do 60 minutes and I'm now done over 90 minutes. I will now just, shut this stream down. Thank you for your questions and everything. I will do a little bit of answering my emails for a bit. I need to, answer people. And then I will be starting gaming and start streaming the game. So in case you don't have anything better to do, make sure that you have the Twitch account done, and you can just follow me, Rauta Finn, on Twitch, and maybe join me more talk later on. But hey, if you have better things to do, don't worry about me. I will be just fine even if I play myself, play alone, and all that stuff. Thank you for being part of the stream. I will do another YouTube stream next month, the first weekend of May, unless there's something in real life that bothers with the schedule. But I will notify you people about it. Thanks for being on the stream. Take care, people. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Listen to some metal. And don't be a douchebag. 4 rules to go by. from Rauta headquarters. Take care, my friends, and see you soon with more stuff coming your way. Rauta out. One comment I have to Salma Hayek or Monica Bellucci. Monica Bellucci. And happy birthday to you, Waldman. Now, bye bye. Take care.